Okay, I'm working on the electrical box here on the Sportster. Let's talk a little bit about Digital Guard Dawg and RFID technology. Actually, I'm not going to talk much about RFID other than to say radio frequency identification. So it is a keyless system, uses a fob, pretty common these days. What I'm doing with the electrical box, I'm mounting a lithium-ion battery in here. Anti-gravity makes great batteries. Problem here for Canadians is not always easy to find anti-gravity, unfortunately. However, the guys at Precision Motorcycle think they have a solution for me. There is now a Canadian lithium-ion battery supplier that has a battery very similar to the one I was thinking about using from anti-gravity. So that should be okay. That's going to work fine. My original intent was to mount my Motogadget M-Unit, a basic unit that'll tie into the Digital Guard Dawg. I was going to mount the Motogadget and the Digital Guard Dawg in this box. It hit me the other day that RFID, radio frequency, gee, is that a good idea to put that in a steel box? And this has a steel cover that goes on it. So this is totally a steel enclosure. Sure enough, checked with the guys at Digital Guard Dawg and they said, no, that's not going to work. So I thought, well, you know, I was kind of limited on space anyway. And I thought, all right, I'll find another place for the Digital Guard Dawg unit. I will show you the unit here, and I'll get you something closer up than this. But nice unit, well encased, looks like it'd be totally weatherproof. The only problem, and it's not really a problem, the only issue with trying to mount this is Digital Guard Dawg does a really good job of insulating and tying these wires together. Looks like they put some really good sealant around the bottom, so this is a very weather-tight connection. The problem with this is there is no flexibility in this. There's lots of flexibility once you get to the wires. It really means that when you mount this thing, you're dealing with something, you know, probably approaching 5 inches in length. And that becomes a challenge. Even in my electrical box here, it was going to get tough to find a spot to include this rigid part of the wiring. So I got thinking about this. I thought, okay, there's got to be another way to do this. I looked at the front side of the electrical box where I now have the coil mounted. I looked at that and I thought, you know, again, this was going to be an issue. I would have had to probably change my mount here, do a couple things different. And then it was going to be sticking right out beside my oil tank. And this is a nicely sealed unit. I don't find it a very nice cosmetic unit as such. So I thought, well, maybe I can put it in the headlight pot. And the instructions do say that that's acceptable because, of course, it's not steel all the way around, so you will get radio frequency. I looked at the headlight pot, same sort of issue though. It's a round pot to try and build a mount, have enough length, and then the wires have to turn right away. And of course, part of what I'm trying to get away from is more wiring up at the front, and that would have just complicated that and added more wires. So again, that wasn't really working for me. I thought about under the seat. I thought about under the backbone. I don't want anything in the way there. And I do have to keep in mind that I'm going to be switching out the gas tanks and the fenders. So that restricts me a little bit too. I looked at maybe doing something down here. But again, it really takes away the clean look that I've been working towards. So I was struggling with it, but I think I came up with something. I also looked at doing something up on the front of the bike here. And again, I wasn't totally happy with that either, mainly because I stripped a bunch of stuff off of the front of the frame for a reason, and now to start adding stuff back onto the front of the frame didn't make much sense. I'm going to flip this up in a couple of minutes here. Karen's going to give me a hand. I'm going to flip the frame up so I can access the bottom. What I came up with is there's a nice open cavity between the frame rails down here at the bottom. And using a piece of flat bar, I've got some that is exactly the same width as this. So using a piece of flat bar, I can weld it. There's a brace under here. I don't know if it was originally for the foot controls, for the foot pegs, or whether this is just a strengthening piece under here, but I can weld a piece of flat bar underneath there and mount this on top. I'll have lots of room for the wiring to come out, and the wiring will just come back here behind the engine and up into this box, which is perfect. This will be above the frame rails, actually tucked in between the frame rails. That's not going to be an issue, and it's going to keep it protected. Cooling wise, heat from the engine should rise. Typically heat goes up. That should keep this relatively cool. Shouldn't have a heating problem there. So all in all, it just appears to be the best option that I've got. I'm going to flip this up. I'm going to make a mount for under there and tack it in place and get this on there and just see how it looks. And I think that's where my digital guard dog is going to live. I'll be back to you soon with more.